Local history, local culture, local events, your community. This is the Joe Kelly Show.
Hi there, everybody. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. Our guest is County Executive Anthony Picente Jr. We've got a lot to talk about, lots of interesting things going on in the county. But before we do any of that, we're going to say welcome. Good to see you again.
Good to be back.
Good. One of the things that I've noticed is going down to the Utica Comets game at the auditorium, there's activity down next door.
There is.
The Nexus Center.
Yeah, after many months of, COVID impacted delays regarding the construction or the completion. But at the end of last year, we resolved some financial issues, got back on track with the Auditorium Authority and Rob and the team there, and the good news is it's being built and it's moving along really, really quickly, and we're really pleased at the pace at which it's going, and we should be in sync for the end of this year.
Talking about that, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here, but boy, every day I look at the hospital, that's moving along.
Well,
too.
you look at those two, that corridor and those two projects, and very soon, actually this week, we're going out to bid on the parking garage. So you're going to see even more activity in that area as we finish demolition in the footprint of the garage, and move forward with that. Begin construction of that in the spring.
Now, there was one holdout down there, a piece of property.
There's a couple.
Okay.
There's a couple.
Where do we stand with those?
Well, there were 3 or 4 holdouts, I should say. 3 of them are still holding out, and unfortunately, we may have to go at the end of this month to court for eminent domain proceedings. They're not. One of them is an active business, but not the other 2 are not. So, and the 4th one is moving out. So we're confident, though. Hopefully, we can get to an agreement by the end of the month. If not, we'll move to proceedings.
How many cars for that parking garage?
1,350 approximately.
Yeah, that's a pretty big garage.
It's going to be a good-sized garage, and it's going to have, very connected to the hospital, and public parking as well as hospital parking.
I was going to ask you that. Is it just going to be for hospital parking?
No. It's while the hospital will maintain a large portion of it for their employees, and certainly for physicians, which are employees, but also the emergency room and those services. But there'll be at least 300 plus spots for the public on normal day and every day, and on weekends and for special events, we can. We're working with the hospital to open up some more of those spots so that, if you want to go to a Comet game or the Utica University game, or to Nexus when it opens, there'll be adequate parking on the weekends for that.
I know I'm going back and forth, but Nexus, for those who don't know what Nexus is.
3 additional sheets of ice or soccer fields, depending, they can be converted. Right attached, kind of attached, but right next to the Adirondack Bank Center at the Utica Memorial Auditorium. 3 sheets of ice for tournament play, for either youth, collegiate, all types of hockey or soccer or lacrosse tournaments, at which you have those 3 plus the main sheet in the Adirondack Bank Center, which really gives the opportunity for a great many of tournaments. The nearest venue that's even close to that is actually much larger, is in Marlborough, Mass. So there's a gap there of miles, and then the next one is out towards Toronto. So really, in New York, we're really in a prime location for this these sheets to expand really tournament play, but also all types of different activities that can be a part of that. And the great benefit is Utica's right, it's right off the thruway exit, and really gives us a great benefit for attraction, tourism, and overall growth. So Nexus will be a game changer in terms of that entire venue down there.
Well, if you're a hockey mom or a hockey dad, you realize how big this is going to be.
You do, and I've talking to many of them, there, and this is not a seasonal. While we're used to the Comets, obviously, in a particular hockey season that runs from October to April or thereabouts, depending on the playoffs. But these tournaments run 365 days a year, all year long, summer, winter, spring, fall. I mean, every all over the calendar. So and they run usually 4 days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Some variations in which you have anywhere from 32 to 64 teams over the course of that weekend that can come in and play throughout the days, and with that many sheets of ice, you're just playing one game right after another.
Right. What do you see as the completion date for that?
Given that they got started even a little bit sooner. I mean, we had hoped they were going to get started last fall, and then there was a potential delay. But we're still anticipating that we may have some fall tournaments in play. So October, November could be a completion. Yes.
That's going to add, is it not, to the challenge of parking down there?
It is. Initially and in the early goings, again, it'll take us a while to ramp up with all of those tournaments and activity. But there is, we've managed quite well, even with the hospital in construction, and even with Nexus in construction in terms of parking. So we'll have our challenges, but the good thing is, at the end of 23, the garage will be up, hospital will be open, Nexus will be be operating, and we'll make other adjustments as necessary behind the odd.
Do you see something going on behind the odd where there would be some kind of connection to what is going to be the harbor? The harbor.
We have talked about it, and certainly I proposed a few years ago in my State of the County the whole U district, which included Nexus as the first leg of that table, if you will, to expand and really make it a sports and entertainment district. So we'd like to do more behind the odd, in particular we're still looking at different scenarios, but if the city is looking at doing something in the harbor, it's an easy connection to make, and I think that could be something that we could work together on in the future.
You mentioned the state of the county, and that's right around this time of the year, so I'll ask you about that when we come back. What's the state of Oneida County? Oneida County Executive Anthony Picente Jr. is our guest. Short break, right back. And welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. Oneida County Executive Anthony Picente Jr. is our guest. We're talking about Oneida County issues, obviously. I saw you up at what used to be Utica College, now Utica University, where that was all announced. But we've got another situation going on in Oneida County, and that is SUNY Poly, which has changed its names many times over the years.
It has.
And now the governor is talking about, I think she's just talking about it at this stage, uniting that with University at Albany?
Well, it's about removing the connection that was put in place many years ago, and so it is a proposal that has got us very concerned, and not just myself. Obviously, our state delegation, Senator Griffo, Assemblywoman Buttonshaw, and others, Steve DeMio, Mohawk Valley Edge, because of the investment we've made and the work that's being done just off of the campus there, with Wolfspeed, or Cree as everybody was initially, and now they've changed their name. The proposal is to reunify SUNY, or the School of Nanoscale Science and Engineering, back to Albany, which would take a piece away from what we have had here at SUNY Poly, really since 2013, 2014. We're very concerned about that on two fronts. Obviously, the connection that was made years ago increased enrollment, which had been dropping. We're seeing more students use state schools, especially in view of COVID and some of the restrictions that have been put in place. But more importantly, it has improved our recruitment because of things like Wolfspeed. Furthermore, we're working with other companies because you remember the site where Wolfspeed is, the
Tell
chip
people
fab.
that aren't familiar.
Wolfspeed is a chip fab manufacturer from the Carolinas that specializes in electric vehicle chip manufacturing and
Goes into
charging
cars,
station.
right?
And exactly, in charging stations. And so they are a huge company and worldwide that we're scheduled for that ribbon cutting or opening in April. They are currently this April, they have about 230 people working there now. They hope to ramp up in the next couple of years to 600. They have, that's a remarkable facility as well. When you talk about the hospital and Nexus, you talk about Wolfspeed, what's been done. But the big piece of what SUNY Poly has meant to Wolfspeed is that connection and is that curriculum of engineering, and especially in the area of nanoscale science, chip manufacturing, et cetera, in which we're working with other companies. We're in discussions right now, due to confidentiality, can't disclose, but with companies that are interested in building there as well. But if you take away this piece of this research arm and this educational arm that has been so important, and there was a main attraction for Wolfspeed to come to Oneida County to that parcel of land and to build and make a $1.2 billion investment, of which about $600 million came from the state of New York, another $600 million from Wolfspeed, and then some, in addition to monies from Oneida County in terms of roads and infrastructure and the like. That's a big part of the attraction. Companies want to go where they have that
Same thing with the Rome Lab.
student fixture, and Rome Lab is a big partner as well. And the connections we've made with SUNY, with Rome Lab, with Wolfspeed, with so many other companies throughout this, AIS and Black River Systems and BAE, and all of these companies that have called Oneida County home because of these connections and because of the lab and because of what SUNY Poly has meant, and SUNY Poly's collaboration with MVCC, with Utica College or Utica University. Got to remember to say that. It's really a bad decision, and we're hoping that we can convince the governor not to do this.
Is it in her hands? Is it strictly her decision?
Well, it seems to be, and it was posed in her State of the State address early on. It really wasn't. It was kind of brushed over a little bit, but it was in the briefing book that she put out regarding the State of the State. And it's a joint thing. Obviously the governor has great control over SUNY, but the SUNY system is right now without a chancellor. They have an acting chancellor. We have an acting president up at SUNY Poly, so there's a little bit of flux there. But we need to stay on track and restore, or at least again, this goes back to I wrote a letter to the governor along with County Executive Ryan McMahon from Syracuse, from Onondaga County, because this is a regional issue, along with Senator Griffo and the Assemblywoman. To outline that, look, we're not asking for anything here. We just want what we have. We just don't want it taken away, because it is so important to the economic ecosystem of what we've developed in terms of technology.
Would having, and I forget the gentleman's name, he was up here, president of Wolfspeed.
Greg Lowe.
Yeah. Would having him lobby for this?
Well, he's been a great voice for us and really a great partner. And the other point to that, Wolfspeed has invested through their CEO $2 million in scholarships at SUNY Poly for this purpose.
I forgot.
So what do you
yeah.
tell what do you tell them
Yeah.
at that point? And they've also invested another 1.5 million in terms of faculty, endowment.
Mm-hmm.
So those two combined, they've made a $3.5 million investment here. And it just sends the wrong message to not just the academic side, but the economic development side.
Yeah. The how far along? First of all, tell everybody how close the Wolfspeed building is to the SUNY building.
Well, it's literally in some ways it's on the campus, but it's just down the road, off on Edict Road, which that's how you get to SUNY if you're coming from Marcy or from Rome. So it's less than a mile from from the campus proper.
When you were talking about companies being attracted because of SUNY, I think about when Griffiths closed and the air base, but these other companies wanted to be around the Rome lab. And
Right.
you look at those companies, they're physically close to Rome lab. They want to be there.
Well, and there's so many companies that were offshoots of
Yeah.
Rome Lab. So many different engineers that that then began after the second career with businesses like, as I mentioned, AIS and Black River Systems and others that have really invested in the entire community and have a great workforce.
Yeah.
And they're here because of that.
Yeah. When do you think we'll hear something about
Well,
this?
I'm hopeful. I mean, we've been patient, but persistent, and we're going to keep pushing. I'm going to Albany next week and hope to knock on some doors and see what else is going on.
You think you
as
might
well.
be seeing the governor?
I would hope to. I'm going to NISAC next week and hope that she's supposed to come and address us. So I hope to have a few minutes time to we've been asking for a meeting and.
Is that number
hopefully
one
we
on
will.
your agenda?
That's
with
number
it?
one right now.
Okay.
Yes.
Anthony Picente is our guest. We're talking about Oneida County. Short break, right back. And welcome back, everybody. Thanks for sticking with us. Oneida County Executive Anthony Picente Jr. is our guest. The last few times you were on, of course, we spent all the time talking about COVID.
Sure.
Going through all that. Give us an update on where we stand with that.
Well, the good news is, the last few weeks and really about a month now, we've really seen, a leveling out and really a significant drop in cases, which is good. The other big indication has been the hospitalization number. I think the other day I looked and the number was 12, which we haven't seen a number like that in a very long time. The trends across the state and everywhere is really, has been really positive in terms of that reduction. Obviously, the governor and took off the mask mandate throughout the public indoor activities, and then a week ago with schools. All good signs, and with hopefully with the spring coming and the weather, and it'll be a better. We're hoping for a better year. We had hoped for this back in 21 when the vaccine came around. It looks as if we're at a point where we're going to be living with an endemic, kind of like the flu, and now that we're aware of how best to deal with it. We still want people to be safe, and we still want them to be comfortable, and if they feel like wearing masks or wherever, that's important that they not be ostracized for that in any way, and recognizing that, it's still a virus that is out there, but the case numbers are now, the last few days have been in the teens, which is all, it's just a great sign, and I'm hopeful and I'm confident. And people did a great job, I think, and especially the holidays, which, those case numbers were through the roof, like we've never seen before with the Omicron variant. The hope is there are no more variants out there to spook us or to get us back into those days. But I feel very confident about it. I think, looking around and seeing how everyone's reacting, that, now it's time for us to take that next step of, what's next, and let's move past this, catch up with what we missed out on, at least some of the things we've had planned for the last couple of years, and really look to the future of how we move forward as a community, but as a state and nation.
I was just thinking, when you're down in Albany, is there any chance of inviting the governor to come up for that ribbon cutting?
Well, we already have put her on the list. Obviously, she's well aware of it. And the thing is, with Governor Hochul, when she was Lieutenant Governor, she came for the groundbreaking of Wolf Speed and other activities, so she's well aware of it. We're pretty confident she'll come for. I mean, that's a big project, and it had a big state investment in it, so I'm confident she'll be here for that.
I've never seen a governor that didn't show up when there was jobs to be.
Especially when they've invested in them. In that regard.
So maybe there's a chance to do a little lobbying that day.
Yep.
Good.
Well, hopefully we can get to it before that day.
Right.
That's an important day.
Good. There was a change. Sheriff Mesha was sitting in your seat last week, and he mentioned that there's new security at the Oneida County office building. How'd that work?
There is. It's working out. We've been, and that was another area we've been kind of stalled on some renovations that had been planned over the last couple of years to make the building more efficient and for our employees and certainly for the visiting public, and because we see hundreds of people every day. And in the court system now, you have to go through magnetometers. Eventually, that'll be the case with the county building. But for now, we're wanting visitors as they come in, and to make sure that everybody's safe. The good news is that sheriff's office and working with the sheriff done an outstanding job working collaboratively. We have deputies there. We have SPOs, special patrol officers there, in all of our buildings, and as we go through this and continue renovations, we're going to do some more safety measures. But we're always looking at ways, again, to keep the public and to keep our people safe.
This is about the time for the state of the county. Have you set the date yet?
Set the date for April 6th.
Okay.
And then the last year we did a virtual. We did a video because we couldn't do it in public, and the year before we didn't do one at all. So the good news is we'll have an audience this year. It'll be in public.
Where will you do it?
We're going to do it actually at Shenandoah at Turning Stone, because at the Turning Stone Resort at the golf club there. We're going to have a luncheon. We're going to do it there. We've been great partners with the Oneidas. We want to talk about some of the future pieces that we're working on, and really strike the chord of it's going to be less about COVID and more about progress and growth and activity and things that we want to see and do over the next year and over the next couple of years, especially with the completion of the big projects that we mentioned today.
Right.
There's a lot to talk about, and it's time to get back into the swing of normalcy.
In one word, you can expand if you want, but give me one word to describe the state of the county.
Optimistic.
Okay. And you're optimistic?
And let me try, energizing.
Okay.
I think we've got some exciting things that we want to talk about and move forward.
That was interesting. Speaking of the Oneidas, we've only got less than a minute, but that was interesting. Their plans for Sylvan Beach.
Sylvan Beach is a great,
Wow.
you know, that's really going to be another
Yeah.
another changing in the scene and really expanding on tourism. And they're going to do more in Verona as well.
Will Oneida County get any money out of that?
Well, we do, because the Sylvan Beach has the smaller casino up there, and they have had their best year. They had their best year last year for us too. In terms of in the throes of COVID, and did a great job in curtailing it as well at their venues.
Always good seeing you.
Great to be here. We'll come back after
Well, I
the
hope
State
so.
of the County.
Okay, good.
Okay.
That's going to do it for us this week. We'll be back next week. We'll do it all again. Don't forget CNYhomepage.com. Lots of good stuff there. Until next time, take care of yourself, everybody.